game scuffle into a strong mid game for FPX, whereas EDG, what's more front to back than an Ornn with a Nautilus, with a Jarvan, and the Kalista ripping apart anyone who comes her way.
We'll see if they can find those front to back formation team fights, or whether FPX will be able to pick them apart. It's time to jump into game number 1 here of this best of 5, and we've got Doinb on the Twisted Fate to start things off. Now, it's worth mentioning, Twisted Fate, one of the lowest health pools in the entire game, and he's against his Syndra. So that level 6 moment for Doinb is going to be all around making plays around the map. Scout, though, if he can find a good Scout of the week, he can find a solo kill.
This is where I'm looking, though, for jungler intervention. Junji has mixed up his playstyle when they played against RNG. Junji would usually path top to help out Audi. Instead, he went towards mid lane to try and help Scout against Xiaohu, understanding that Xiaohu was such a core component of RNG's game plan. Here again for FPX, it's a similar style. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Junji attempt to go mid a lot more in this game, and that means Doinb will need to be on the back foot a little bit.
We're going to see the Unsealed Spellbook here for Doinb as well, so get some efficiency out of his summoners. We'll be able to TP back to lane, for example, and still have utility when it comes to those fights. And I'm curious how he's going to play this early game out, because TF struggles early on.
Well, the Unsealed Spellbook will help with that. You can see he's already started to heal. It's not only that he can take the teleport, it's barriers, it's exhaust, it's everything in between that can give Doinb more survivability in this lane, alongside as well just having the opportunities to get that shorter summoner spell cooldown, so he has these up more often.
Not to mention as well that when you're playing things like the Twisted Fate, Scout probably doesn't get to play against Twisted Fate that often. These weird fringe picks often can find you good matchups just in sheer ability. Obviously, Scout an incredibly good mid laner. I don't expect him to struggle too much, but it's not going to be one of these matchups that he's practiced hundreds and hundreds of times.
Well, especially when you look at Scout and how long he's been playing, I wouldn't be surprised if he's been in at least a few of these matchups, but still, this is going to be an interesting game to start us off in this best of 5 series.
So let's talk FPX early game a little bit here, because when we looked at the series between FPX and Top, while Top won that series 2-0, FPX won out the early game, both games. Oh, look at the hook out of Crisp. Hope taking a huge chunk of damage from the back of that one. And now Tian wants to make something more happen in this bottom lane. Mako will spot him out. That means they have to back away. Junjia's here as well. And I think both teams are just going to handshake on this one and walk away.
I'm surprised EDG were playing that so aggressively, especially when the heal is down for Hope, but Tian is not done yet. He wants to try and make another round, and Junji has disappeared.
Hope's going to be exhausted, and Tian wants to shut him down. Flash still available on this Kalista, but I don't think there's a way out of this one. LWX wants this first blood. He wants to start the series off right, and he'll do exactly that.
And this is brilliant from FPX to set up LWX for success. We've seen LWX and Crisp, when they get ahead, will punish super heavily. In their last series, it was on this Kalista with the Taric. This time around, though, with Aphelios and Thresh, if you've got more hooks like that coming in from Crisp, they can take down Hope.
Ton of early game power coming out from that combo, and with this Trundle coming into lane, even though he doesn't have hard CC in quotation marks, he's still incredibly effective.
And the big thing here for FPX is they had this losing mid lane and a losing bot lane. With Tien now setting up LWX for success off of that kill, they've now got a winning bot lane where they can now again put pressure towards Doinb. This is about enabling Crisp in a lot of scenarios, so Crisp can get out on the map, start to roam a little bit early. You can see here, he's even backed ahead of LWX, so we can get towards this mid lane and support Tien.
Yeah, I love this from Game Goon as well. You see him roaming down, trying to find any opportunity to stop Junjia having the early game he wants. Doinb's got support in the mid lane, and actually it's going to be the bot lane that's caught out. Mako in the middle of nowhere flashes, but you can't escape the troll. Crisp flashes away, and now Hope's been found out. Scout suddenly alone as he moves in, doesn't get the stun onto Doinb. Junjia has finally arrived, and Tian may be the one caught out now, but with a frozen domain, he can stroll away.
FPX win though, they get the kill, they manage to escape, not only because of the frozen domain, but having that Scuttle Crab speed up in the bottom side of the map as well. So FPX off to a fantastic start, where again, look at where they're setting up here. Moving into this river, getting vision control for Doinb, stopping Junjia from being able to control this early game, where Junjia has shown in games previous.
So far, so good for FPX. We mentioned that they are the team with this early game prowess, and when you look at the gold, already we're 5 minutes in, they're 1,500 gold up. That is an absurd lead to have. And look at this, just great prediction on what EDG want to do.
I love where Doinby has set up the wards in his lane as well. You can see there's one a little bit further back on the lane to spot out if Scout starts to move. So they're a little bit worried about Scout starting to get these roams off. And this is why, with the pressure Scout has with pushing inconsistently, could go for this play. But FPX now in a place to try and spot it out. Also looks like they want to try and get this dragon straight off the bat, which I 100% agree with. You've already got kills, the pickaxe completed for LWX. So why not try and push this advantage through a potential dragon?
Yeah. Crisp even gets to go into the jungle and clear some vision away from EDG as well, and it feels like we're just a few minutes in, but FPX have firm control of what is happening around the map right now.
And this is why Tian is such a good jungler and why he won the world's final MVP. He dictates the pace of these early games, and we did pose the question, can Junja try and keep up? At least in this game so far, he hasn't been able to, with Tian making that repeat gank to the bottom side, catching EDG off.
EDG love to gank this top lane though. They love to try and set Audi up, and they're going to do this onto Gimgoon, the weak side top laner for FPX, and he will just drop immediately.
And how many times do EDG make this play where they will give these resources towards Audi in the top lane, set him up for these team fights where he can be the big beefy front line for them? And
you know, when you think of Audi, you think of this strong, stable, you think of like German engineering. What's that car manufacturer? Mercedes, that's it. That's who I think of. Anyway, down to the bottom lane we go as the dive coming through. TP from Audi to support his team. Tian has to flash away. FPX with their typical 4v2 dive, but they botch it.
They can't quite get the play that they would have liked to, thanks to that TP from Audi. Fantastic call from EDG to know, hey look, we've committed these resources to the top side, bottom lane is exposed, but they've got the TP to keep that play at bay.
Very nicely done from the side of EDG to kind of halt the momentum coming out from FPX. In the meantime, Doinby went up towards the top side with his Destiny, and he gets to shove a different wave out.
And this is what usually happens with FPX games, is that momentum just takes over. It's the wave that just doesn't stop crashing and beating you down. EDG, though, have managed to delay that to a certain extent here. Now, though, with the Rift Herald spawning in just over a minute, I want to see how they play this out. Right now, both Crisp and Mako are going back down towards the bottom side, so we'll have to see if LWX or Hope can get control of this wave to allow the supports to roam.
Doinby grabs himself one plate up in the top lane there. And the Herald spawning in 20 seconds. And as you say, these supports going to start to try and roam on up. But so far, we don't have any movement from the bottom side of the map. We don't have either duo moving up to that objective.
The beauty of this as well is with Doinby having no Destiny available, it means that they can't spot out where everyone is at the moment. So FPX are going to be going into this just as blind as everyone else. Now though, EDG, you can see where Junja is on the map, making his way down towards the bottom side. Hasn't been spotted, but you can see Tian now backing on his own bottom side to move up towards this top lane.
Now bear in mind the Scuttle Crab has been taken by FPX, so if they go through the river, they'll be spotted. And I think EDG not going to pull the trigger on any kind of play towards the bottom side just yet. Just going to be going, making sure that they're securing their buffs.
Still have both duos in the bottom side of the map though. Doinby now starting to move, pick up this blue buff, and you can see Gimgoon as well starting to get vision control in this river, wanting to make sure that they're the ones who are in control. Again, nice job on spotting out this ward as well. So FPX first to the river, and this is usually where we see EDG fall behind, is not setting up correctly for these objectives. Again, they've invested these wards in towards the Rift Herald, but they're not protecting them, they're not keeping them alive, and FPX can sweep these out and now take the Rift Herald without really much of a push coming through from anyone on EDG.
Yeah, Junja had gone to the bottom side to get his blue buff. He did get the 3 buff over Tian there, but ultimately it's this Herald that's going to be the big prize, and you can see EDG responding effectively. Tian doesn't get to just grab this one for free for himself here. And I think the Herald might just be about to reset, and it will do so. So, EDG, good response here to remove some of that pressure.
Well, the good news for EDG as well is that they've got their bottom lane moving first, so now they can get control of this river and set it up for themselves. Gimgoon, though, can crash this wave and will lose out a little bit of that golden experience for Audi, but Audi's fine with this. Audi has no problem giving over a bit of a golden experience because they want to help out the team instead.
We're going to ult just to reposition here. We could have a 5v5 on our hands. Bear in mind, though, this is FPX's strength. This is where they want to fight.
You say that, but EDG, don't forget, they want to go front to back. With EDG controlling this river, it sets them up to play that style. And against RNG, EDG found their success at these Rift Herald fights.
They could be pinched here, though. FX definitely want the fight. Here comes the call of the Forge God, and Tian going to be knocked up and taken down immediately. Chris forced to flash away. DoingB will find a stun onto Scout. Scout weak misses as well. DoingB still going to survive as the hook goes onto Audi, but you really can't take that one down just yet. There's a hook. There's a ton of CC as Gimgoon falls, and EDG have found this fight beautifully.
And we talked about FPX. They're more of a split push orientated composition. And if DoingB can't get access to the backline to try and play a threat, that's where EDG are going to shine. They move in front to back, pick off FPX, and now they find themselves not quite with a gold lead, but this Rift Herald because certainly set them up for that.
It's a great fight coming out from EDG here. But on the other side of things, feels like a bit of a mistake from FPX. This is the play we usually see out of them going for these kinds of fights, but maybe with this composition, it's not the best.
You gotta let the team, that's exactly it. You gotta let the team composition allow for it. Twisted Fate isn't the best in these fights. He's more of a skirmish-orientated champion where he can pick off members, and that's what I thought we might see FPX try and play with. But when they use that Destiny to just group on the far side, they're not able to spread out EDG. So when EDG play with their front line, that's where they find the successful fights.
Fantastic early game coming out here from EDG. Bear in mind, when we're talking about this series, the expectations of these two teams, you think of EDG, you think of the late game team fight. But as you rightly said during that fight, EDG kind of got to simulate a late game team fight just in the early game.
And this is what I love from EDG, because in the series that we saw in the regular split, game number 1, EDG were taking these strange fights where they weren't the ones in control, they hadn't set up properly, but now in this playoff scenario, EDG are taking it slower, they are finding their positioning, and they're taking the fights against FPX. It's FPX who are taking fights that they should not.
Now it is worth bearing in mind, the gold's still very firmly in the favor of FPX. They're 1,000 up right now. So EDG with a great fight, but not a lead just yet.
And as well, neither of these teams can be counted out. Both of them have a 40% plus win rate when behind at 15 minutes. FPX will claw their way back into many of their games, and including games where you really think they should be out of, and even the games that they lose. They are the longest lost time in the LPL. They will make you fight every step of the way. Same with EDG. They oftentimes will fall behind at 15 minutes because they're relying on these late game team fights, where we had Scout on Azir, we had Hope on the likes of Varus. This time around though, not as strong as scaling into the late game, but we still will wait to see if EDG can find their success in these team fights.
It has to be said, when it comes to these earlier stages though, in the junglers, we mentioned how Junjia was going to have a trial by Phoenix Fire up against Tian here. But actually when it comes to the buffs, that's the second time in a row now that Junjia is going to be stealing away buffs from FPX. And speaking of stealing away, they're moving to the mid lane, and they're going to crack the first tower here with Herald. They get a hook as well. DoingB has to flash. Very nicely done from EDG.
And even though EDG will trade this for a tower on the bottom side of the map, this is better for EDG because they can now move in, split the map, get vision control that they want, and potentially, I was going to say pick off LWX, but DoingB reading the scenario and making sure that FPX know where EDG are.
And what a creative use of that ultimate as well. When you think of Destiny, when you think of Twisted Fate, you don't think of using this ultimate defensively to protect a member. You think of picking people off, but DoingB, and bear in mind it's such a long cooldown, using that selflessly for someone else.
Well, that's also a bit of a problem, because when we talk about FPX's composition right now, they want to go 1-3-1, they want to be in side lanes. Not having Destiny available is a bit of a hindrance to that playstyle. Now, he's close to that level 11, which again will shorten the cooldown quite substantially, so it's not going to be too much of an issue. But still, you want to make sure that you've got all your dice in the right place, because right now, EDG, with taking down that mid lane turret, can get control of River, which we see them doing right now, and then look to control the map. And that's where FPX will struggle. As a split push composition, you want to be the ones dictating the tempo, but right now, EDG could take it away from you.
You can see it in the turret plates there, and you can see it in the scoreboard at the top. This game looking relatively even to start things off, and that's exciting to me because I wasn't sure whether or not EDG would be able to live up to a top team like FPX. So far, so good, but FPX continue to push the envelope here.
And FPX and EDG are just trading objectives back and forth. Now you got LWX who's very quickly taking this tower on the top side, just the Felios things. But on the bottom side, Hope at a more reasonable pace will be taking this bot lane.
This is what a normal AD carry looks like. Go back, this is what the Felios looks like. It's just unholy to look at, honestly, but Hope will eventually be able to take that tier 1, but FPX, they've got the Aphelios, so why not use it? They're going to look for more damage onto a tier 2 now, but without it here, they decide maybe they can't overstay.
This is the difference, though, between FPX and EDG. I want you to look at the wave, or the ward coverage that they've got in that top side of the map, where you know exactly where EDG are at all points in time. Scout was spotted trying to move across, which is why FPX backed away. Whereas when we look towards the bottom side, EDG haven't set up that control. The vision isn't there for them, and this is why when you get to a mid game, EDG can sometimes falter and get caught out.
Going to be starting to clear away the minions here, and I want to just revisit the gold values right now because there is only a 400, 500 gold difference between the two teams as we head past the 15-minute mark. And bear in mind, both of these teams great at coming back from behind, but when we're in an even scenario, this feels to me like EDG have this situation that they want. But we have to go back to what we talked about right at the very start of the day. FPX have started to lean more towards these late game win conditions, and with their composition, it feels like they're going to do just as well in the late game.
They do well in the late game, but they still have that control in the early stages. And as we look at this Dragon coming up, it's usually FPX who have control of these. 57% of their Dragons in the regular split went towards FPX. It's the second highest in the LPL, and they want to keep this going. Although EDG right now do have control of River, which again enables them to set up for these fights ahead of FPX.
Yeah, and Infernal Soul certainly is a good way to make sure this early game, or this mid game, continues to be explosive. Audi will be found out here, stunned up for himself. There's not a ton of damage on the side of FPX, and Audi gets underneath this tower. That's the beauty of having this Ornn pit.
Well, it's also a beauty of the way FPX have set up this play because it's a win-win for them. Wave crashing top side, wave crashing bottom side. You as EDG can go towards Dragon, but we're going to go towards Rift Herald. So EDG are forced to draw themselves all over the map. Audi now TPing in, but no Call of the Forge God.
It's going to be here, as you rightly say, no Ornn Horn available. They're going to go for the Herald, and they will grab that, and they'll find themselves a kill onto Tian as well. Gimgoon stuck, forced to flash as well. Blast cone to safety. EDG execute beautifully.
And this is FPX not being able to find a fight in the style that they would like. They want Doinby flanking, they want Gimgoo flanking, and you can try to set up on either Scout or Hope with the CC lock coming through from the Twisted Fate, but they're not finding that chance. EDG pick off Tian, now they get the Rift Herald over towards the Dragon, and EDG, now we find our gold even, but Rift Herald still to play with.
EDG starting to accelerate for themselves, and we talked about the pick potential here for FPX, but ultimately, when you look at the lineup for EDG as well, if you get caught out against a Nautilus, against a Jarvan with a Syndra there as well, you're going nowhere.
And FPX have been keeping up so far in this game, and I don't want to count them out. Because what they've done is really smart map plays, and this is why we talk about FPX being able to claw their way back into games, because it's not through just team fighting alone, it's being able to outthink your opponents, being able to use these waves on the side correctly. And EDG were nearly caught out there thanks to FPX setting up their waves correctly, so I want to see EDG now make sure they're keeping control of the map, not letting this 1-3-1 style or tempo get ahead of them, because that's where FPX can bite.
Let's just take a second here as well to talk items, because we've got a Rod of Ages in the pocket of Doinby, which obviously when you go for the Rod of Ages, you're going to play a little bit slow. He's going to be going for his Zhonya's as well next, so he'll take a minute before he's going to be really online. On the other side of the board, though, Scout, already with Illudens, looking towards more pure damage as well. In terms of the mid laners, Scout's going to impact the game a lot more heavily.
And don't forget as well, as we start to come towards this Baron, you need those extra items coming in. Now, with LWX having picked up a bunch of that Turret Gold in the early stages of the game and wave clearing by himself for quite a bit of it, he's managed to pick up the Infinity Edge and that Rune's Hurricane already. So don't underestimate what LWX can do in these team fights, and especially if he gets onto a Baron with Tian as a front line.
So we've got a bit of a trade going on here. EDG going to find themselves with a tier 1 in the top lane, but in the meantime, Gimgoon is like, all right, you're all going to make a play towards the top side. I'm going to stay on the bottom side because I've still got TP.
Yeah, but they don't have the Rift Herald, so now you've got LWX trying to crack open a mid lane turret. He's going to back because EDG has disappeared, but it will be tower for tower, and again, this is FPX trading very effectively in this game.
How do you win a trade when you're the ones without a Herald? Here we go. FPX want to make something happen. They're going to find the hook, and this is Hope going down immediately. Now Mako, dredge line onto the wall, and he will get away with his life. So does Gimgoon as Audi, somehow winning that 1v1 very comfortably.
This is why you can't count FPX out. They find their opportunity, the teleport, and that destiny once you see Scout and Co in the mid lane, because they know, well, Hope has got to be on his own with Mako. They can collapse, FPX make the play, and look at the tower situation right now. As a 1-3-1 split push, I'm delighted, because I can have the likes of Doinby shoving that wave super effectively in the top, Gimgoon continue to put pressure down towards the bottom side, and crack open that mid lane turret without much of an issue.
So you can see the fight there between Audi and Gimgoon. It was won because Audi gets his ult off onto Gimgoon while Gimgoon's tanking the tower, trying to TP away. So really nicely done there from the side of Audi. And it means that actually teleport advantage will go the way of EDG in a couple of minutes' time once Audi's TP is available, assuming Doinby doesn't have one from his unsealed spellbook.
So let's have a look now and see how EDG are going to try and correct the situation that's happened with FPX here. You need Scout, as you can see in the top, pushing in that lane. Audi's doing the same on the bottom side. And when the Dragon's up in just over a minute 45, well, they'll be looking more likely to go towards that. But don't forget, as we said, FPX can still base towards Baron in the meantime. You've got the Severum Crescendum combo that can come out from LWX, which means they only need 2 to 3 people to solo that out.
There's always the potential for a sneaky play there. And FPX, if there's one team in the LPL that's going to go for sneaky plays, it's these guys, especially when Doinby is on something like the Twisted Fate. He can always spot you out, because bear in mind that ultimate, the Destiny from Twisted Fate. Yes, it's a teleport, but it's also pure vision. Even if you're invisible, that ult will spot you out.
And it plays towards the strengths of what FPX like to do. Doinby has the highest kill participation on this team, and the Twisted Fate just enables that even more because you can join in these fights from across the map. So I love how FPX are playing this to try and bump up their strengths in the early, in the mid game, and even now in the 1-3-1, in the late game over EDG.
So despite there's been actually a pretty reasonable amount of action so far this game, the kill score is very low right now. It's 4-3 in favor of EDG. And the gold's still just about dead even. There's about a 500 gold advantage for FPX right now, but the Dragons are going the way of EDG, and there's another one up in 30 seconds.
Again, look at how FPX have set up the lanes though. Someone needs to go and deal with bot side for EDG. You've still got Doinby, who has teleport available to try and push in this top lane. So EDG looking for a fight before that bot lane crashes.
If Junja finds the knock up there, that could have been a different story, but Crisp will walk away happily with his life. And Audi just having to deal with this minion wave. We mentioned the teleport advantage earlier on. Audi very much has that right now. His teleport is available should a dragon fight start.
EDG posturing in the mid lane. They'd love someone to be able to go and help Junja on to this Infernal Dragon, but Doinby TPing in. They want to look for a Destiny play.
This could be a 5v5 here. Could be a 4v5 if Audi's not here in time. Destiny comes through. Teleport now from Audi. He wants to frontline this. He wants to be a brick wall for his team, but we've got a flank from Gimgoon. At the same time, he's getting in behind them. Hook down onto Audi, who's just not tanky enough. Tian goes down, though. It's a trade. Jungler for a top laner. EDG will take that for now, but Gimgoon is wreaking havoc, and it's a beautiful double as Junjia goes down. Mako can't find another hook, and FPX onto the Dragon now. No jungler on either side. Bear in mind there's a Kalista. If Hope can stack some Rens, they could still find a Dragon here. Scouts head back to base, and that means FPX will find the Drake.
And this is where we see EDG struggle. We highlight them as these front-to-back team fighters, but with Gimgoon on the flank getting access towards Hope and Scout, EDG will often crumble, and especially with Audi TPing so far forward, it means he can't really have the success of, or the rest of the team help him out, and you're just setting yourself up where Hook can come in from Chris. Great hook actually there as Audi goes to flash away, and then it's FPX on both fronts sandwiching EDG, and Hope and Scout can't set up properly.
And you know what? If you want to go for a front-to-back team fight, I'll tell you which AD carry is going to absolutely love that. It's Aphelios. He gets to just wail away on Audi, then finish off the second kill onto Junja as well. He's 3-0-0 right now, and he's feeling good.
And that's the thing here, is that because you can have Gimgoon playing so far forward, Doinby giving himself access to the backline in some of these scenarios, well, you've got this great peel coming through from Tian and Crisp for LWX. And as this game starts to go on, LWX will just out DPS Hope because of how quickly Aphelios can get his damage out. And this is where EDG can start to struggle. So FPX having this game even right now is great news for them. And this is why I'm a little bit worried now for EDG, because they haven't got these objectives they can fight towards right now apart from Baron, but FPX are keeping these waves in control to keep the vision in favor of FPX.
And I'm excited with the way this game has gone so far, because we're talking about EDG as a team that is all about the late game prowess, the team fighting, and FPX have drafted into that strategy. They also want to fight you in the late game. They want to get to this late game with things like the TF and the Aphelios. And so, with the scoreline so even right now, 5-5, 2 dragons apiece, gold only 1,000 in favor of FPX. We're very much looking towards these late game battles.
And I love that Doinby has gone for the likes of the Sonya's Hourglass nice and early, because it gives you survivability in these fights, yeah, but it also means you can play super aggressively with this Destiny into the backline alongside Gimgoon that we talked about, these dive bros that are going to try and get on towards Hope and Scout, and you don't have to worry about suddenly an unleashed power coming from Scout or Hope turning on you at Mako. You can get very deep into these fights and set up FPX for success. So again, EDG, we got to see them. How do they try and approach these fights? Because objective control hasn't been their strong point, and so far neither is this wave control.
Certainly not ideal for them so far this game when it comes to that wave management, but that is, bear in mind, they're against a team that specializes in that wave management as well. I do want to look towards the mid lane right now, though, because I mentioned it before when it came to the items for these mid laners. Scout was ahead earlier. He's lost that lead for himself. The Rod of Ages now on 10 stacks. You can see Doinby getting close to a 3rd item as well. But one thing that Scout will have in his favor is that Luden's Echo will be upgraded by Audi on the wall.
Yeah, you can't forget that Audi, of course, will be able to give these ornaments across the team. So, again, it will help keep EDG at an even pace for a lot longer in this game. But as well, Doinby going towards this Banshee Veil just doubles down on the fact that he wants to be playing super aggro in these fights. Avoid hooks from Mako, the likes of the Scatter the Weak from Scout. This is a really good build that I'm enjoying a lot from Doinby.
It's kind of an interesting matchup as well between these two teams when you think about the history of the two orgs as well, because you've got EDG on one side, one of the most historic orgs in the entire LPL. They've been around a good few years for themselves. And on the other side, FPX only came into the league back in 2018, and they have had tremendous success for themselves since that point. Bear in mind that despite EDG having the advantage when it comes to longevity, it's FPX that have the advantage when it comes to the trophy cabinet.
But yeah, of course, FPX having a fantastic 2019, especially when they brought over the likes of Doinby onto the team. You have Tian coming onto the team as well. And Warhorse as well, the coach, really turned things around in 2019 and found their success.
Oh,
now, Hope, though...
Hope has to flash, but he's still going to get caught by the gold card. Stopwatch can't save you for too long, and everyone's arrived from FPX. The death sentence is exactly that. And with a Baron open and an Aphelios on the squad, I'm thinking FPX maybe go for it.
They're going straight towards it. You know that the only real source of damage here now is Scout, and even that's fairly lackluster when it comes to consistent damage. So FPX should be able to get this down. And look at the guns, Munchables. Perfect setup for FPX.
It's beautiful, but EDG are not going to let this go without a fight. Hope is still going to be dead for another 15 seconds, though.
Well, FPX, it looks like they're actually trying to bait EDG in here, but if EDG don't go, they can just turn towards this dragon in another few minutes, but here we go.
No hook goes through there. Crisp will find a hook. It's Junjia that gets straight onto the backline. Gimgoon is behind everyone, though, and he's straight on Scout. Forces the flash. He's 1v4 right now, and the rest of the squad finally going to arrive, but Junjia's fallen. Mako's got nowhere to go. No flash available, and FPX with a perfect bait.
And I don't know why EDG opted into that fight. It wasn't so much the bait from FPX. It was EDG walking in, willing FPX to kill them. You don't have hope there for these fights. And this was the problem that I saw when I watched EDG versus FPX in the regular split. EDG taking these fights they had no business going for.
They didn't have hope available for the fight, and it meant that they had no hope in that fight either. Now FPX onto the Baron here. 3,000 remaining. Junjia is not available.
Audi has Smite though. He wants to try and make that play once again that he did against RNG.
He did it against RNG. We'll see if he can replicate that success once more. Has the flash, has the Smite. The rest of his squad is getting low though, and FPX are happy to stall this one out. They're just going to keep the Baron going, keep this fight going. Destiny has 2 more kills go to FPX. In goes Audi, but he just doesn't have the damage.
Does he?
Oh, maybe he does! He gets it! EDG somehow find it, and Audi is a beast.
How does he do it again? The Ornn is unstoppable. You can't kill him fast enough in the pit because he's gone for all these armor items. Means that the only person that's really going to be getting through him is Doinby. And he manages to survive long enough to steal the Baron.
And I thought FPX was stopping DPS, could just stop it. He's so damn tanky, he lives long enough to DPS it himself.
But this is the thing, you don't have any armor pen coming through, and even when Gimgun's hitting onto him here, it's not enough. EDG do give over several kills in this fight though, so FPX will be stronger when this Baron buff wears off. But Audi has just stalled the game for EDG off this play. No one can kill him. Look at him go.
He solo DPS is the Baron from 1,200 HP so he can smite it. That is hilarious. The Brittle though, bear in mind it does percent damage. That's a lot to a Baron.
And this is why I think when we come into our next game, you're probably going to see FPX ban away this Ornn. It was such a crucial pick in EDG's playoff series against RNG. We see it once again. Audi on this champion is the so good for EDG.
And bear in mind, we were talking throughout this split about, you know, Audi versus Jinnu in the top lane. And I think the last 2 series alone, Audi has more than justified his paycheck here with EDG.
And especially because he opts into the playstyle that EDG have found the most success on, which is this strong frontliner, the likes of the Ornns, where you can have front-to-back team fights. When they had Jinnu playing on the squad, it was much more about the carry-orientated champions with Kennons and Jaces and the likes of these. So definitely Audi has been putting in performances worthy of his starting position on EDG.
He's been earning it so far, and EDG are rewarding him with these picks. But bear in mind that the Baron, while it was stolen away by EDG, they're not going to really be able to do too much with it. And that next dragon that spawns in 3.5 minutes could be a stall for FPX.
They did manage to pick up the dragon while this was all going down. And again, we said FPX picked up a bunch of kills in that last fight. They now find themselves 4,000 gold ahead with that dragon potentially spawning, and EDG just haven't been able to find the success in these fights thanks to the flanking positions from FPX. So now EDG, with their backs against the rope, can they find this next fight in their favor?
And I want to take yet another look towards the items. This time not the mid lane though. I want to look towards the bottom side, because when you look at the AD carry gold right now, it's 3,000 in favor of LWX. Doinby, by the way, just going to be doing Twisted Fate things. He's going to grab himself a tier 2 and get on out of dodge there. But LWX has been quietly picking up kill after kill during these team fights. He's 6-0-3 right now on the Aphelios. He has 4 items against the 2.5 from the side of home.
Yeah, the LWX is massive, and when we talk about LWX being the main source of damage on this FPX lineup, he needs to be fed, and all these kills being gifted into him has been fantastic for the side of FPX. Now when you look at these team fights, it changes the dynamic entirely, where EDG, yes, you've got some of these ornaments that are coming through to help them out, but the problem is just the pure damage that this Aphelios will provide in fights, especially hiding behind the likes of Tian and Crisp, will be a lot more difficult for EDG to manage.
It has to be said as well, though, you're against a Syndra. So, LWX, while he's fed, he's going to have a lot of damage if he mispositions. If he gets caught out by the likes of EDG, Scout will obliterate him. So, yes, they have the lead right now. Yes, they're ahead in terms of map control, but FPX have to execute beautifully during these fights.
Again, though, we're seeing FPX are doing a great job controlling these side lanes. Doinby shoving in top, you already got bottom pushed in, and this opens up FPX to get the vision down that they need for this next dragon. You can already see Gimgun has placed a bunch of wards there. You still have Crisp, who's going to be moving in just a few moments to place all the wards he has as well. And this is why it's beautiful to watch FPX and where they're going to be posting up next, because EDG now, yes, they've made it over here now to start clearing out some of this vision, but they haven't been great at consistently keeping the vision at these objectives.
Audi's going to have to move towards the top side here just to keep the waves in check, because Doinby is going to consistently push in these side waves. But you mentioned the 1-3-1 earlier. Both tier 2s have been taken in these side lanes now from FPX, so they have a lot of pressure if they can have an extended period off to the side.
And I'd love to see them send Gimgoon towards this top side and still have Doinby with the Destiny being able to play down towards this bottom side of the map. As I say that though, Destiny will be used by Doinby just to get towards this top side. So again, split push is the name of the cards, but it's where they want to try and have Gimgoon versus Doinby.
So Doinby moves to the top side. He's going to match Audi, and Audi knows that he definitely can't win that fight anymore. Bear in mind, there's a righteous glory on 2&B in the mid lane.
Like, what? This is always just weird plays coming through from Doinby. It makes sense on the TF though. You can obviously run down a few of these people, makes them that little bit tankier as well. Doinby realizes I'm a facilitator, not the main source of damage. But I also like that they are putting Doinby up against Audi because Audi doesn't have any magic resist right now.
Audi doesn't want that matchup though. He wants a team fight. He's going to join the rest of his squad because he knows 2&B is going to be around as well. We could have a 5v5 on our hands. Remember the EDG, in that last series, they were named as the best team fighters in the LPL. And this matchup could well be the decider on whether they deserve that title.
EDG set up once again. Mako, Audi and Junjie in the front line. This is how EDG like to play. But keep your eyes on Gimgoon because every single time he's sneaking in behind EDG.
Every time he's finding a way to get onto Hope and Scout. Here we go. It's not front to back because Gimgoon's in the backside right now. They're going to get the stun down onto him and the collapse here from EDG. They're just going to focus the top laner. But in the meantime, the Dragon might just go down. That's it. No, it's stolen by EDG. Another steal for them. And now the fight as well. Hope's onto 2&B, but he just doesn't have the damage. Audi flashes away. Hook goes wide. Now they try and collapse onto Scout and Mako. Double kill again from LWX. And Hope, without a hope or a prayer of getting away from this one. In goes Tian, flash on forwards. This will be yet more gold into the carries of FPX. One more auto will finish the job. One more pillar will stop the escape. Oh, the turret comes down. It's not quite enough. Hope escapes somehow. LWX ain't done, though, with a kill onto Mako.
And the Baron is up as well. You've just killed Mako. There's 30 seconds on towards Scout. With the low health bars, though, FPX will have to back away and heal up, so EDG should be able to get back onto the map just in time for this Baron, but still, FPX finding these beautiful team fights with Doinby managing to flank in onto the back line with Gimgoon once again, and this is EDG not having control of these objectives in the way that they need to. Gimgoon has not been spotted a single time coming into these fights and has always caught EDG with their pants down. So when Scout and Hope are trying to kite back, Doinby's putting pressure on one side, Gimgoon on another, and Tien and Chris are just free flying alongside LWX to take down people.
So FPX get themselves the Baron, and the learning point here for EDG is play with your pants firmly up, or they... I mean, Gimgoon's going to find that every single time,
if you've got the wards out of your pants, it's going to be easier to keep them up, but that's not what they're doing. They're not placing those wards.
Get them out of your pockets. But it's important to mention that EDG, yes, they want this 5v5. Yes, they want a team fight, but they need it front to back. And the way that Gimgoon is playing is pulling the EDG squad apart. And it means that LWX, nobody's focusing on him. Nobody can get near him, so he can just clear up these fights.
How do you as Hope and Scout? Hope is on this short-range AD carry, so his positioning is going to be kind of in the middle of everyone on EDG, but that's where FPX wants him, because when Doinby flanks, he can pick him off. LWX can try and pick at him as well. And now FPX, that 1-3-1 finally fully enabled thanks to this Baron buff, are looking to put pressure on all three lanes.
This 1-3-1 comes into its full strength right here with a Baron, as you say. They're going to have a good while on this buff as well, so they can just hammer away. And sure, a couple of waves will be cleared by the side of EDG, but they're going to be pulled around their base endlessly. Gimgoon in the top side, 2&B in the bottom side. And bear in mind, you try and make a play on the mid lane, 2&B will be there in a heartbeat.
There's nowhere to run for EDG, and there's nowhere to try and find these fights that their composition wants to go for anymore. They're being pulled and dragged around the map. Mid lane turret taken low, as both top and bot are in a similar situation.
So the siege continues. This cannon minion was protected by Tian, and he'll be able to just finish this inhib off. In the meantime, Gimgoon is going to do a similar thing, and 2&B decides it's time to join his fellow solo laner. This will be a top lane inhibitor falling, and with them moving down, surely the mid lane as well. I don't think they're done just yet. They could look for more, but FPX, they're going to play this one safe for now. It's only game one, so they decide to back away.
Will do this by the book, clearing out 2 those inhibitors, and now they will be able to go towards this third one. Baron buff is already going to, well, shortly go out, but They will manage to crack it one more.
Look, they had it long enough. That's all that matters. 3 inhibs fall, and this might just be the game because FPX aren't showing any signs of stopping just yet. They're muscling their way into the base. The supers are still a while off. Bear in mind these inhibs have only just been taken. The question is the Baron buff enough?
But look at the way these waves are collapsing. You got 2 more collapsing at just the right time.
Look at the damage. The Moonlight Vigil is disgusting. Audi can't get his own ult off, and that's one Nexus Tower falling. 20 seconds still on this Baron, and they're just going to focus the base. EDG health bars are getting low, and Hope desperately trying to do what he can, but he's CC'd for the whole fight and taken on down. Double for Gimgoon as he tears through the health bars, and EDG fall apart in game 1 with FPX in utter control.